Hmm. Hmm. Yes. Yes. Welcome. Yes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Please be welcome to yet another episode of The Gist with Josh. As always, I am your host, Josh. I come to you. It's been 2 weeks. I missed last week's episode, and I feel so bad. One of the most important things in life, one of the most important things in the universe is the fact that it's consistent. The things, that we hope keep on working. We live in a society that's collapsing. Everything's kind of falling apart. If it were a house, you'd be able to see inside the walls, and the basement, would be flooded. And it's not so consistent. So, I apologize because the Gist with Josh is supposed to be like your compass in the night, okay? We're supposed to be like a beacon in the dark that guides you. You're like undead zombie people. I'm like the main person. And then you kind of like pick up on my frequency, and then you can kind of like, you're almost like guided. It's like the Lord of Dark Souls. Or Elden Ring, like you lost your souls because you live in a broken world that sucked your soul away, and now you gotta like fight your way to the top. And I'm like an easy boss. Okay, you can kill me 100 times in a row, all right, and farm up some good souls. You can get a lot of what do they call them? Are they called souls in Elden Ring? No, they're called like embers. You can farm a lot of embers on me. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I believe this is the 40th episode of The Gist with Josh. I could be wrong. It could be the 41st episode, but I'm pretty sure it is the 40th. Let me check that real quick for the sake of posterity. And I've got a really interesting lineup of content for you today. It's going to be the 40th episode. Holy smokes. Can you imagine? We've been doing this for that long. We got 40 episodes in this thing. Each one's like an hour long. That's like 40 hours. That'll be permanently etched into the digital, the digital rock of humanity and the internet that I have placed. And I'm glad I have a lot of great stuff I wanted to talk about because I know we're in an interesting situation. We're in a bit of a malaise right now. We're wondering what's going on politically. They're rolling out Kamala Harris now. They're calling Trump and his new friend Vance weird, which is totally, gay. Trump is not weird. Vance is not weird. They're both based. They're both very cool. The problem is Kamala is a feminist. Feminists naturally, they don't like to see frat. They don't like to see the boys loving each other. They don't like it when the boys come together, okay? Right now, gentlemen, I want you to pay attention, okay? I want you to pay attention, and I want you to hear with me for a second, okay? These woman, like the fucking armies, like the orcish armies of Sauron right now, are watching us. They know that our journey has begun, our journey to self-actualization. They see us. They see that we possess the ring. They see us making our way to Mordor, and they've been activated. They've been totally sent into like a frenzied state, okay? Their drones, like pheromones, have been sprayed into the air by the Kamala Sauron. And now they're being like awoken on a biological level to like turn against, like all the women want to turn against all the boys. And that's just the way it's going to have to be for the next 4 months until we get the first ever woman into the U.S. presidency. It's just how it's going to have to be. Can you believe this? They just shot Trump 2 weeks ago. He almost went out like fucking JFK, okay? And he's a hero. And now they're already talking about, him not winning the election. What are you talking about? You think we're going to elect some chick? We have the coolest guy ever as an option. We have the coolest, one of the coolest people on earth, ever as a choice. And then you have some bitch and and she does like that awkward laugh. She's like your work mom. She's like that woman that works in the office that's been there for a while, and she comes in and she puts her blanket on while she's working at her desk, like she has a fucking Snuggie on or some shit. Like you guys are working for a company and you come into work and she has a fucking Snuggie. That's what Kamala Harris is like. She's like that. She's like a work mom. She's like what happens to women when they try to be serious. Okay, that's what she represents. She represents not taking things that should be taken seriously. She represents not taking those things seriously. She's like wine drunk, kind of silly. She's kind of like cackling. She's and now she's calling us weird. We're weird. How can you say that we're weird? What's weird? That he didn't get his head blown off? Would that have been less weird? Like, how can you have such little, I don't know, brevity? Like, she's not like appreciating the situation at all. She's coming out like she thinks she's gonna be a girl boss. Like, who's seriously listening to this shit and taking it seriously? Who's looking at Kamala Harris as a serious person? You know what I mean? And I'm not going to... Listen, I had a lot of cool things I wanted to talk about this week. Listen, we're a Canadian podcast. We're not all American politics. But I get all fired up seeing this shit. They just pop and they swap out, Joe Biden. Last time we talked, Joe Biden was going to be the fucking president of the United States, like that, or he was going to be their candidate. And then they just swap him out last second. There's no like democratic process. There's no like consulting the constituents that elected, Joe Biden. It's just a presumed, like, who's in charge of the country right now? Like, who have they delegated powers? And, like, why are they not, like, telling people what's going on? You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous, And really, I didn't want to talk about any of that, God, I have so many some of this. Let me just go over some of this. Here in Canada, we have our own problems. The truth is, we were way too worried as a people about what's going on in America. I know it's very interesting and it's gonna affect everybody, but we've got our own problems here. We're still trying to get it together. We don't know whether we want to be poor, whether we want to be total peasants. Like here in Canada, we're not absolutely certain what we want to do with our economy. We know we don't want to do anything productive. We weren't planning on like producing anything for anyone. I think like the two biggest things that our federal government has invested in was like a cricket processing facility, because they want you to eat bugs, and then the other thing was a big vaccine power plant that was gonna shit out vaccines that ended up not happening. But we have our own problems. We need to figure out where we're going to go as a country. And we have, these choices between, Trudeau and Pierre. And a lot of people feel like, oh, well, we're not really getting the best of both worlds here. Pierre and Trudeau both want to bring in massive amounts of immigration. 70% of Canadians, I think it's like something like 70% of Canadians right now are fed up. We don't want any more people in our country. Like we like immigrants, we like sushi, we like taco sushi, we like culture, we like fancy things, we like different colored people. Like we're very hedonistic. We like culture, we like different cultures for sexual purposes. Like if you're ever sitting around with your buddies and joking, they'll be like, oh yeah, I like black girls, or I like Asians, yeah, like I like, just because we want to fuck them, you know what I mean? Like white guys are like the ultimate, like not racist. Like they want to make it white dudes out like we're the biggest racists in the world. The truth is we're the ultimate race mixers. Like white guys are number one they're like the biggest advocates for race mixing. Like we actually want to marry all these women. We want to deal with these people. We're not the bad guys here. It's not that we don't want to take in all your women and have sex with them. It's just that we need to like also make sure we have enough houses. Like, it's kind of cool. We used to build houses, but it's like we're forgetting how to do that. Like, I don't know any buddies. Like my grandfather, that was his business. Like my family, became wealthy because all they did was build houses back in the day. And that's like what all guys did back in the day. They would wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And one of the big things that guys like to do here in Canada was get together and build houses. We don't build anything more in this country. We just kind of let things we kind of just sit around. We like to play video games. We like to get together and hang out with parks. We like to swipe on Tinder. We like to do social media and play video games, and we like to smoke weed and drink beer. But there's not a lot of it's not like we're building stuff, but we're bringing in all these people. We don't even work at Tim Hortons anymore. We don't even get white people in Tim Hortons anymore. We've exported that. Like, what do white people do in Canada anymore aside from like fucking live on Social Security and roll around in wheelchairs? Like a huge swath of our people are obese or like wheelchair bound. Like, I want to say let's take back our country, but we really don't have. I don't know what kind of bargaining power we have here. I'm still kind of gauging that. But that's why I'm talking about this. Like, we can worry about Donald Trump getting his head blown off. We can worry about them, coming over here and taking all of our oil. Who knows? Canada might become a part of the United States, for all we fucking know, with the way this chaos is, raining on over us. All this nonsense. Every other day you hear something that could fundamentally change the entire world structure. Like, any moment, like a war could pop off, or somebody could get assassinated, or some election could get rigged, or it just seems to be like a special kind of, special time. It's a special time. What's going on here? Like, why is it so special? Even in the UK, they're getting all fired up. Those Brits, they arrested Tommy Robinson, who released a documentary exposing the corruption in the judicial system within the government of the UK, and they had a massive protest. It was insane. I mean, I like to follow all this stuff. I like to follow the anarchy, the collapse or whatever. See what the fuck's going on here. And it was mind-numbing how many people. It was like isn't the Queen or someone gonna come down here and figure this stuff out? Isn't the King or someone gonna come out, like King Charles or whatever? Isn't he gonna come address this? There's they're at the Nice Fountain. I don't know. I think it's the city of Leeds, and they're all marching around the Nice Fountain. But King Charles is he's not on it. He's not trying to engage. He's not even there. He's the king. How is he not on this? Is he trying to be apolitical as the fucking king? No wonder you're getting cucked by the parliamentary system. If I was the King of England, I would own that shit. We would have the country back. If I didn't like Tommy Robinson, we would have did it old school. We would have took his head right off. We would have sent in knights on horses with lances. We would have got it done. But they want to be tyrants, but they don't want to do what tyrants are supposed to do. They don't want to sick the dogs on the poor innocent people. Get off the shit or get off the pot, basically. But in Canada, we have our own problems, and I think honestly the biggest problem in Canada is French people. We have all these French people. They're speaking in a different language. They're talking all about this and that. We're gonna have our own money. We're going to take all the money from the federal government. We want all these grants. And then Maxime Bernier, you got Pierre Trudeau, Justin Trudeau, Pierre Poilievre and Justin Trudeau. These are all French people. You know what I mean? And then you hear about all the money that Quebec gets. How come the French people are running shit here so hard? You know what I mean? What's going on with that? And I tried to talk to Maxime Bernier about that on X or whatever, and he fucking blocks me. I made a comment, saying maybe people should vote for him, and then everyone kind of liked that, and he was pleased, and there was maybe got 10,000 views and not 100 likes. Everyone was like, yeah, we should vote for Maxime Bernier, and I was like, yeah, but why are you French, and why are you always speaking in French? Here's the problem. What's the point of speaking in French if everyone speaks English? Even the French people speak English, and you're gonna say everything you say in French and in English? It just looks dumb. Why can't the French people just press translate or something? If they can't speak English, you know what I mean? Figure it out. You live in Canada and you can't speak English. What the fuck are we even doing here? How are you supposed to go to Tim Hortons and get a fucking double if you can't speak fucking English? You're telling me you're going to have to, you're just never going to leave Quebec? Goddamn, I don't believe that. I don't believe that people in Quebec exist that don't speak French or that don't speak English. I think that's a psyop. I think it's a French psyop. You know, we're worried about the FBI and their psyops and what they're doing. You know, the CIA probably did try to kill Trump. But what is Maxime Bernier, Justin Trudeau, and Pierre Poilievre and all these French CIA people, what are they doing to us? You know, they're probably all working together. They want us all to be speaking French. You know, it's such a silly little language. Like, oh, oui, maman, monsieur, Pepe Le Pew, je m'appelle retard, ooh. You know, like, that's what they want us all to talk like, because they're inferior and they feel bad about themselves. And they're trying to make us give all the money to them so that they can make us speak all French. And if you don't think that's coming, I got another thing coming, buddy. And then the Chinese are probably going to come in through the fucking BC. We'll have like half of the people speaking Chinese, half the people speaking French. You know, they won't even remember what English words are. You know, that'll be the least important language. And then then we'll really be fucked, because all the good books and movies were made in English, and it's not like they're ever going to get their shit together again. You know, if Chinese people are in charge, we're never going to have good movies or video games or anything productive again. So we have a choice, you know. We can lay down and let these circumstances walk all over us. We can let these, you know, these problems fester into world culture ending cataclysms, or we can look at the person next to you, and I think you're going to see somebody that wants to rise up and take back your country with you. And if we all got on the same page about this and looked at what's in front of us and just making perhaps one step at a time, kind of like Tommy Robinson and what all these British people were doing. They had thousands of people marching around. The king was too afraid to come out and talk to them. I know Canada's a big place. It's not like the UK. It's a little bit different here. But maybe we can get our program together a little bit and get rid of all the French people. You know what I mean? We don't need to have any more French people if we don't want them. We've been at the hands of them, and they've been making us put French on the back of all of our cereal boxes, all of our milk containers. Like, we can't even have a drink of milk without having to see on the back like it's French. Like, what's next? Like, everything I say I'm gonna have to say in French too. Like, it's gonna be like Jacob Tutu. Like, everything I say I'm gonna have to say twice, because, you know, like, hi, my name is Josh. Oh, my name is Joshua. Like, I'm gonna have to do that every time I meet somebody new. That's crazy. Like, what kind of country are we trying to build here? You know? All right. And I want to talk a little bit about language. Since we're talking about English, talking about French, I wanted to make a point. Why English is so based. There's so many. English is the only magic language. It's the only language connected to Jesus. And basically what that means is, well, that and, her Hebrew is also probably connected to God, because they're pretty cool too, you know, because we love Jews. But basically English, even the word, the letter I, look at the lowercase version of the letter I, and look what it is. It's a line with a dot on top. Think about what that symbolically represents. Like, what does that mean? What is a line with a dot on the top? That's what is I? It's a person. It's an individual. So literally the letter I and the way it sounds, I, and the word I all mean the same thing. And it even looks like on a base level. So each building block of English, each letter, all 24 letters of the alphabet make up like a scientific, mathematically perfect language that God has basically blessed, so that everything I'm saying essentially is casting like a spell. It's intertwining with the energies and frequencies in the universe, and it's allowing me to almost take control of my environment. Okay, and that's why English is cool. Now, with that, Now, with that, while we're here casting spells, I want to talk about how different people talk. And I was noticing today, because I've been paying attention now, because I've been realizing how powerful language is in our words. I was sitting on the TTC yesterday, and I was riding on the streetcar, and there was some black lady some woman in a big black, like, tiny black lady in a big coat, and she was like screaming at herself, and she was fighting herself and arguing. And she was using these huge words. She was like, financially, you skewed me. You have financially deprived me of my rights. You cannot do this to me. You cannot remain impartial. This is subjugation to measures, and you have truly forbidden that. And she's talking in all these huge words, this random black woman, and she's like Jamaican or some shit. I don't know where she's from. She's probably from like Nigeria, man. But like, I just noticed that like archetype of like foreign, like immigrant, like descendant, like black ladies, man. You ever see like a homeless black person and like just listen to the way they talk, and like you listen to the height and like the level of power and the dictation of their words. Like there's often a lot of like evocation of like wealth and like stature and like officiality and like bureaucracy in their speech. Like they're often speaking in terms, like they use very large words because they want to show you that they are like very large, and like even on this plane, on this level, they may seem like not that like complex, or that like, you know what I mean, like they're not that formative, but they're actually like they're operating on another level. Like they're interfacing directly with the Holy Spirit by doing crack on a daily basis and like living outdoors. They're so in tune with nature, they are so in the moment, they're so zen. Okay, they're basically reaching a higher plane where they have a super ego that is controlling reality, our reality, and they are lovingly looking down on us from their super ego, from their heightened state in the physical realm, to basically show us love. That's what all these homeless people are doing that live outdoors and do crack. They're really interfacing with their super ego and loving you from like a higher state, and like they're basically becoming God and bestowing blessings upon you. And that's why you should give them quarters and loonies. I seriously think there's a lot of power behind homeless black people, and I think it's an institution in this country, and I see it growing, and I think it's a powerful thing, you know. And I just want to say, like, you know. Anyways, moving on from that, I did want to talk a little bit about something that's not so political, something that's not so deep, you know, because we're always getting into these really deep topics, and I know it's a little hard on the head. It's a little hard, you know, to come listen to this show every other week and get all this info dumped onto you about the world. And, you know, we talk about all these issues, you know, and I try to teach the best I can. But the anteater, you know, do you guys ever think about the anteater? It's such a strange animal, you know. I'm a very religious man, you know. I'm very deep in my faith and my love of God. And sometimes I look at creatures like the anteater, and I'm just blown away. Like I'm really impressed, because I can't help but feel absolutely proven in the fact that God is real. When I look at the anteater, it all just kind of makes sense to me. It's got a big fucking nose, it's got a long tongue, it's got a special sticky tongue, so that and then I was looking at this video on Discovery, and the anteater, like, you don't know this, okay, the anteater is sticking its tongue into the anthill, and it's like navigating the tunnels, the different tunnels. Like, it'll go down one tunnel and be like, all right, got some ants, go back out of that one, and it's like wiggling around and capturing all the ants. And it got me thinking, it's like, is that all the anteaters eat? Like, do you think anteaters like just use their tongue for like eating out of anthills? Because, like, think about the multiplicity of uses behind such a useful, like, evolutionary tool. Sorry, just one sec. I want to check the camera. Halfway point. Camera check. We're good. Just with Josh can strike on. I just think it's brilliant. I think it's such a brilliant creature. But imagine being an anteater. Like, imagine having to stick your tongue into a fucking anthill to get your food. Like, what do you think anteaters were like good people in their previous lives? Do you think anteaters like deserved, like, they had it coming? Like, do you think like bad people were anteaters maybe become anteaters because in their reincarnated form? Because, like, that must suck. Like, you have to stick your tongue down into the anthill and then you're eating ants. Like, what if, are they biting your tongue? Like, how fancy does this tongue get? Like, do they have like an inability to not feel the ants? Like, what if you get down into the anthill and some big honking fucking ant sees your tongue come down there and wants to fight back? You know what I mean? What happens if, like, you got your tongue, like, fucking deep down in an ant hill? Like, you're deep down. You're at the bottom of the ant hill, right? And then some, like, hyena motherfucker just, like, runs up on you and, like, just gang jumps you. Fucking just smokes you on the side. You got your tongue at the bottom of this anthill. You might even see him coming, and you got your tongue coming back up, and you're bringing your tongue up like as fast as you can. Like, how fast can an anteater retract its tongue before it's getting fucking mauled? You know what I mean? By some like random wild animal that sees it in its vulnerable state. You know what I mean? And it's such a crazy creature. Like, what was God thinking when He made the anteater? He was really cooking, you know, because there's so many applications for an anteater. You know, I hate bestiality porn, but I'm just saying, like, you know, girls are fucking horses. Have they fucked? Like, what are they doing? Has anyone tried the anteater? Like, has any prince or like any dynasty of kings throughout history, like, has any like great emperor like ever acquired like this exotic animal and like put it to use? Like with that long tongue. Like, imagine like an anteater like eating out. Like, like that's fucking terrible. That's disgusting. I'm sorry. I don't know where my mind's going. I'm just thinking like forces of nature, and I'm just thinking like, you know, I'm just thinking about the most fucked up things possible. That's terrible. Anteaters probably don't eat women out. There's probably nobody that's ever done something that disgusting. That's so fucking horrible. Like, honest to God, how the fuck? I'm so fucked. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, I think it's good. I like the anteater. I think it's all right. You know, it's nice. You know, but ultimately, there's better animals. There really is. There's better animals, and you really don't want to mess around too much with animals when it comes to sex, because it's kind of fucked up on one hand, but then also even just in like there's a lot of people like different religions, like some Muslims and whatnot, they like to get into that shit. They like to, they got special alpacas they breed for that kind of thing. Special and they fuck their alpacas, man. They're fucking goats and shit out there. It's wild, But I wonder what these people that live in the desert would do. These crazy people without morals, that live in different parts of Africa. What would they do if they got a hold of an anteater? It's just So this was interesting. So I had a what's it called? Entangulation. What did Jada Smith? What did Will Smith's wife call it when she cheated on him? I had an engagement. Fuck. This is gonna be a bit jarring. I feel a little embarrassed to talk about this, but on a private note, I'd like to, share it. That I had a bit of a, I met a woman, and I don't know if you're like me, maybe you have like a lot of class, you got a lot of dignity, you just don't go throwing themselves around, you just don't, spend the night with anyone. But I recently, started speaking with somebody, and for the first time in a long time, I became involved with a woman. And essentially, what I wanted to discuss is the biochemistry that takes place between men and women. And it's really something crazy. It's not something you really think about. You know what I mean? It's not something you really, you put a lot of thought to. But there's a lot going on there. And it's really interesting because recently, and I didn't even know this could happen. I didn't know this was possible. But I had sex with a woman. And I remember when I was, engaging with this lady, she had a certain smell to her. And I remember it, like, everyone's got like a special smell, like their body, their odor, they just have a certain smell, and it's like their signature, kind of like their biology signature, But here's the thing: after I got finished with this lady, And even after, the next day I'm showering, I get out of the shower and I'm like, I realized, oh, I can still smell this lady on me. Like I smelled my armpit, and I smelled like what I smelled on this woman. And then, so this goes on for a couple days, and, I shower every fucking day. Like I clean, I use soap, fuck man. But I'm starting to realize like, no, my sweat literally smells like this woman's fucking sweat after I fucking, hooked up with her or whatever. Like what the fuck's going on there? You know what I mean? Has that ever happened to anyone? Have you ever like was my bacteria like inferior and I got colonized? Like this woman was attractive too. Like she was a very sexy woman, very beautiful, and she had like a very healthy body. And I think my inferior biome and bacteria biome and like I don't know, my inferior like got infected by hers and totally like overtaken. I don't know how to describe it, but my pheromones have been converted. I feel like I got bit by like, some kind of like sex zombie, and now like this isn't like an STD or nothing, but like I just smell like this chick, and it's a good smell. It's a better smell than what I smelled like. I smell better now. But they say that there's like actually like a deep connection that takes place when people have sex, and it's like a very chemical reaction, and you wonder how deep that goes. Like if you are taking in somebody else's bacterias when you're engaging salivas and whatnot, and you're basically colonizing one another with your biomes, how far does that go? Like does that change like your stomach? Does that bacteria like colonize your brain, and you might start even thinking differently depending on like who you're fucking? So if you're fucking some like really like loser bitch that's like fat and she smells like shit and she eats like McDonald's, she's taking garbage herself, you'll become more like that because that's the type of girl that you're fucking, and then her bacteria, and then you need, because your body is now like hers, you now have to do the things that she does to like exist. You're eating McDonald's, you smell like shit, as opposed to if you're like, picking a good mate, you're having a lot of self-respect, you're saving yourself, you're having the dignity to like pick somebody that's healthy. Like they almost like raise you up to their level, and I guess like like you can go up or down depending on the people you associate with, and sex is a very powerful force. And a lot of these bitches are getting turned on, they're getting horny, they're tired of this feminist bullshit, and they're going to be coming for the jewels. All right, and we got to be careful who we share our seeds and fruits with. All right, that's all I'm saying. But I got an upgrade. I ate some girl's ass, and now I permanently smell like her ass, and it's a delightful smell, and I'm happy for me. I'm happy to know that the world works like that, and that can be in store for other folks. But all this crap you're hearing about the world ending, if Donald Trump, all these political nonsense, are we going to be slaves? Is the government going to put the biochips in us and make us wear leashes and get fucked in the ass twice a week by trannies for like our sexual duty or something? Like we're going to have like a sex draft to like please sexually frustrated transgender men. That could happen, but ultimately, good will prevail. You gotta have hope and good. You gotta know that the world is designed in a special way. Okay, God is, he's infinitely wise. All right, you got the anteater with the special tongue that's not constantly getting fucked up by hyenas and shit with its tongue in the hole. You got women that are, got these powerful pheromones and shit. You got people that want to be women that are guys. It's a wild world, and you got to appreciate that there's going to be a lot of different homeless black people that want to tell you about their financial situation, and they don't care if you're paying attention. They don't care if you're listening. But if you're on the same bus as them, you're going to hear about it, and you need to embrace that. You need to, instead of like always pushing away the homeless people, Like, you got to pull them in a little bit. You know, buy them a coffee. Buy them a fucking Boston cream donut from the Indians at the Tim Hortons. You know, sponsor a family from India to come to Canada. You know, do your fucking part. And, I don't know. If you got it in you, build a house. Build a house. Because we could use a house here in Canada, too. We need houses. And there should be a draft, a sexual draft to please the transgender men of this country, because they're getting frustrated. And it's not right that we just leave them like dogs in heat, or cats in heat. Like, they're just forced. Like, they're getting frustrated. You know, they're getting frustrated with us straight people because we just won't let them be sexually liberated. You know, and it's not cool of us. You know, I don't know. We could keep bringing India here, or we could go to India and make India better. What if we colonized India? Like, they're trying to colonize us. What if we colonized them? Huh? You know, they're trying to get one over us. They think they're clever. They think they're like, oh, we're going to take over Canada by moving there and buying everything. What if we went to India with all of our white people money, huh? And started buying shit? Then what? You could probably buy everything, man. What are they going to do when they're competing with me? What are they going to do when I have a food cart? I wear gloves, all right? It's going to be over, all right? They're going to lose all their customers when they see, when they're in shock and fucking awe because I put on a pair of gloves, all right? That's so corny. That's so corny at this point, but it's true. It's actually probably true. You know, like, imagine, like, you just had, like, a white people business in India. Like, you just did business, like, the way we do. Like, you just took things as seriously and, like, handled shit and, like, managed business, like, at the level of acumen that we have here in, like, the Western world, and brought that to, like, the third world and just totally ruled over them like fucking kings. Like, that might be the move. That might be the next phase that we move into. This might be colonization, like, 3.0. Like, we might have, like, another colonial period. Maybe that's what happens. Like, Trump gets reelected. You know, he doesn't get assassinated. You know, Kamala has to divorce Doug and, you know, stop being a fucking faggot bitch. And then, basically, Trump invades Venezuela, overthrows the Maduro, forces them to give all the oil to the United States. They build giant rockets that they use to launch into space and subjugate all of Africa, forcing Africa to give all of America their oil, all of their gold. And then, like, what are they going to do? They're going to get China to come and help them? We'll blow China up. Like, fuck China. We'll take over completely. If anyone tries to get in between us and total like homogeny of the US. Okay, I want humans to be able to go to space, all right? I want to become like the space empire, okay? And I think the US is the ones to do it, all right? It has to be the USA system, all right? With Elon Musk and his rockets, all right? With Jesus at the helm, with truth as our North Star, okay? We're Ad Astra, all right? And we're going to need a lot of oil. A lot of fucking oil. All right? And if we have to suck it out of every country on the earth, then so be it. If we have to, borders will matter not concerning the harvesting of that sweet, precious black from Mother Earth. All right? And if anyone gets in between us and that oil, we will break them. All right? All right, and then we will build we're going to have massive Titanic rockets, all right? With God as our witness, we're going to build massive rockets, all right? And we're going to shit that tar across the universe, all right? We're going to pollute the whole universe. We're going to have intergalactic oil spills. We're going to have other civilizations of aliens getting angry at us because we spilled oil in their sun and lit one of their planets on fire. And will we give a fuck? No. We'll send them some, like, universal energy credits. We'll be like, here, take this, you fucking mucks. Because we're running the show. That's how it is. We want to be strong. We want to be powerful. Enough with all this gay little shit, like, oh, it's not fair. Oh, we can't, you gotta share the oil. You gotta let the brown people play with the oil in the dirt and do nothing with it. No. You guys are good at harvesting bananas. The bananas have been getting quite expensive. We need to get you guys back doing what you're good at, and we'll do what we're good at. We get the oil, we'll build the rocket ships, we'll go to space. We'll give you guys a whole fucking planet. We'll give you guys a whole planet. It can be called Planet Africa. You know what I mean? And all the African people can be free, and it'll be a beautiful and powerful planet, and it'll have even more resources than Earth. And you guys can do whatever the fuck you want there. But we got to build the rockets, and you got to give us all the oil. You got to give us all the oil and all the gold and all the natural resources, and then we'll give you your own planet, okay? But first, we got to build the rocket ships. We need to give the oil to Elon Musk. We need to give it all to Donald Trump, and you can't get in the way, all right? You got to do your part, and, I don't know. Stop fighting it. Stop resisting it. You're not going to do anything with that oil anyways. You just want the oil because we want it. You just want it because now that we want it, you want to say that we can't have it. That's what's going on here. You're going to give us the oil, or we're going to take the oil. You know what I mean? We've got oil here in Canada, but we got enough to hold us over. Like we got to frack and crack the earth. All right, to get more of that sweet black out of the ground. All right, to keep us going, to keep Daddy Trump fed long enough to take over the entire planet, then that's how it's going to be. And we've got enough of it. We've got big machines that smash into the earth here in Canada. They create earthquakes. It's so bad for the environment. And I think Pierre, even though he's French, and even though the French people are up to no good, I think they still like oil. And I think they're going to get the oil. So I don't know. We might have that issue. We might not. But we'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been absolutely beautiful. I feel like, we've kind of covered some stuff. We don't know what's going to happen between now and the king getting elected. And, there's a lot of stuff going on everywhere. The world's hot. Here in Canada, it's literally fucking hot. It's like 30 fucking degrees here. I'm sweating. But it is getting intense out there. They got the big protest in the UK. Tommy Robinson is leading, and he got arrested. They got, what's going on at the Olympics, which I haven't even talked about. Notice how I didn't even talk about the stupid fucking Olympics and their autism. They got what's going on in Venezuela. They're trying to have a full-blown revolution. They're trying to shoot Trump's fucking head off. They got wildfires here in Canada. We got more Indians coming in than ever. And it's wild. We didn't start this fire, but it's always been burning, and the world just keeps on turning. It's like Billy Joel says, So you gotta appreciate it. You gotta enjoy the moment. You gotta find the joy. I feel like this has been a really fast talking fucking episode, but we got a lot covered. And yeah. It's going to be nice to see what happens here. It's going to be nice. I have hope that, things will work out for the Roman Empire 2.0. That Trump will get into power, that this thing where they're like the liberals are now calling us weird doesn't actually, that doesn't manifest into reality, and we're not just a bunch of weirdos, even though I'm not weird. Clearly I got it together, I don't know about these other guys, but can't point your finger at me. I'm doing half the thinking for all the white people here in Canada, so you got to bear with me. Most people aren't doing much. They're not really doing much with their brain, so I feel like I have to play, do the work for more than one person. Anyways, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the 40th episode of the Just with Josh. I hope you have a lovely week. We'll see you next week. We're going to keep following the situation as it develops. We're going to continue to cover it and keep you company, ladies and gentlemen, and you can join us. And, yeah, thank you so much for spending your time with us, and God bless. Take care. This has been The Gist with Josh. Signing off. Like fucking Kim Possible. Signing off.